Good morning everybody, and welcome to another Shirley Park update, and welcome to the fourth dry week in autumn. I know I've gone on about this in the last video, but it is quite remarkable that we've had this. I think even in my lifetime, let alone greenkeeping career, I have not seen 4 dry weeks in autumn, particularly at the start of November. Last year, November was one of the highest rainfall months here at Shirley Park, along with January and February. We had around 100 mil of rain. This year, we've had 0 in the last 30 days, so from the start of October to now. So what were we on about? Weather. Yes, 4th dry week. It looks like we're going to go into 5, possibly 5.5 weeks. So we've looked at the weather. I don't trust it past 3 days, but it's forecasting at the moment that the next wet day is the 21st of November. Don't hold me to that because weather changes, as you all know, but that would be lovely if it did. Now, just a little bit about the ground here that I'm on. You can probably see behind me, this doesn't look like the most pleasant of holes. So although we're getting good feedback about the course, I don't want to be negative, but I do want to own this and explain what's going on here. This is the 8th fairway. So you can see that from that direction. We're on the 8th fairway here. It is the wormiest fairway on the course. So this has been cut today, and you have got clumps of mud like that, which we are going to try and blow. They are heavy. To pick it up, quite frankly, it's not going to be possible. It'll probably take my whole team a whole day to collect all the clumps. Now, you can brush worm casts, but this is the 4th dry week, and this mud is like plasticine still. So when you brush it, it's just going to smear it. It's going to create the same effect. So the reason why this has happened is, 1, it's worms, and 2, is because we've mown the fairway. So you need cut grass, otherwise this will end up rough height by the time we get to February and March, particularly if it does rain, and it will at some point. So how can we tackle this? Well, we can not cut, and that's not really an option. So what we are doing with the trusty new sprayer over here is spraying something called PGR, Plant Growth Regulators. And we've put on a particularly strong dose, and it doesn't stop it growing, but it slows it down. And if you put on a really strong dose, it nearly stops it growing. Now, we've been hitting a lot of the fairways with this over the last 2 to 3 weeks. We're ramping it up over the next 10 days because the temperature is dropping next week to 4 degrees overnight, 6 degrees overnight, and only reaching about 9 or 10 in the day. So grass will naturally stop growing now. So if we add a chemical now, the plant growth regulator, that adds to that, what we're trying to do with this fairway particularly, and the 4th and the 12th and the 1st, is what greenkeepers call shutting them down. We want 0 growth. Now, that would be a miracle. Well, it wouldn't be a miracle, it'd be lovely, but nearly 0 growth I think we can achieve here. So if this fairway doesn't grow anymore, we don't have to cut it anymore until spring. So that is the idea. Now, it's not going to get much worse than this, but it's not going to get better than this because it's the wormiest fairway and there's nothing we can do about the worms. So to finish this video, to give you a little bit of education on the worms, because I know they're frustrating everyone. People say the course is muddy. It could be worse if it had been chucking it down with rain, and the rain brings up the worms. But carbendazim was banned. That was the worm control, and it wasn't, I don't think it was a killer, it was an irritant. So you would irritate the worms, they would go deeper for about 30 days, and you need rain to push that product in, and they would start coming back after 30 days and you'd have to do it again. That product was banned from all amenity use, which is golf, football, rugby, cricket. In fact, I think it was not a global, it was a European ban in about 2018. So we cannot treat the worms anymore. What we do on tees and greens is there is a granule we put out sometimes. It looks like coffee granules, it's brown. That is very expensive. That is more expensive than fertilizer. It's about £40 a bag. So we can't do a whole fairway because it will come to about £1,000 a fairway. We haven't got that. So we're not even treating all the tees and all the greens with that. We're treating what we call hotspots, so particularly wormy tees and greens, like the 3rd tee. The front of the 1st tee needs it. But Again, that product, because worms are soil bound, like lower down, you need rain to push that product in. And guess what? We haven't got rain. So it's, as much as we're loving this dry weather, and I'm not wishing it away, it brings its own frustrations. You know, rain is good for certain things, but that's what's going on with the 8th fairway and any other worms that you see. You know, the question does come up, what are you doing about the worms, or can't you treat the worms, or can't you get rid of them? No, there are no insecticides left. There is no carbendazim allowed in the UK or in Europe anymore. There are only other suppressants that can drive them deeper for 30 days. Places like Wentworth will apply that granule that I told you about, because they've got bags and bags and bags. £1,000 a fairway, so £18,000 to not have worms on Wentworth for a month. They can afford that. We can't, unfortunately. So we are shutting them down so we don't have to mow. And then in the dry weather, you shouldn't have fresh worm casts appear. So the issue that you're going to be left with is mud on the fairway here. We will try and get rid of that. We will try and blow it. We will try and scrape it. I may even use one of the mowers without the blades rolling, without the blades going, and just try and mop it up on the rollers, because that will remove it. Lastly, to sum up now, don't forget to repair your pitch marks. There are loads of pitch marks in greens. The greens are soft and it's been dry for 4 weeks. That will only get worse. If you make a pitch mark, please repair it. If you see one, repair it even if it's not yours, particularly 6 foot either side of the pin, so 12-foot diameter. It's for your benefit, it's your golf course. It's one of those messages again to say help, protect and uphold your golf course. So don't forget to like, really importantly to subscribe to get your little reports from me, and thanks for listening once again.